people. How are y'all doing on this Wednesday? I feel like it's echoey where I'm at, but how y'all doing today? Happy Black History Month. Whoop, whoop. Rocking my wear today. Actually, for the rest of this month, I will be rocking clothing that honors Black History Month, our people. Of course, I'll be rocking my line. I will also be rocking other Black businesses clothing as well. Anyway, y'all come on in the room. I am excited to talk about today's topic. Today's topic is I had to let him go. We're going to have two parts to this podcast. The first one is me sharing my dating experience and having to let a guy go, why I let him go. And then the second part is I'm going to have a friend hop on and we're going to talk about depression and how we deal with depression, but in the dark. We don't share or talk to people about when we do go into depression. So I want y'all to hop on in the room, come chat with me or whatnot. Make sure you like and share this broadcast, which I actually have to take a moment to do because I don't need folks yelling at me. You didn't invite me. So we got a two-parter today, y'all. So y'all come in the room. Y'all come on in here. I'm excited about what I'm going to talk about today. And then, like I said, part two, we're going to talk about mental health. And I'm having a friend that's going to join us as we talk about depression, dealing with depression in the dark. How we suffer through it and we don't tell anybody what we're going through, which is the wrong thing to do. So anyway, y'all come on in. I'm excited. Welcome to the podcast. Today's episode is called Had to Let Him Go. Okay, and I had to let him go. So there's been a guy that I was talking to for about 6 months last year. 6 months last year. And I brought him up in previous podcasts or whatever that we talked, we dated, we got to know each other, and we built a really good friendship. That was the foundation of our union or whatever. And just over time, I realized, like, yo, you're not ready for a relationship. You're not ready for marriage. You're not ready for a commitment. And his actions show that. Excuse me. His actions end up showing that his words wasn't lining up with the things that his actions, was not aligning up with his words. And I was like, I can't tolerate this anymore. You know, I cannot go any further with investing my feelings into you and you're not willing to commit to me. Like, I got to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And after some months, you know, over time, I was like, yeah, I got to stop investing my feelings into him because he's not doing the same. Or if he's doing the same, I don't know why my voice want to act funny now, that he's not, excuse me, we wasn't parallel. Things wasn't matching. Like, he'll say stuff, but his actions wouldn't match it. And I brought that up in the last week podcast. Like, I don't want words and no actions, or all actions and no words. I want both. I think any human being deserves both, to hear that you are valuable, you are loved, you are wanted, but this person also showing you that. Like, for me, I want both. I deserve both. I will have both. And that relationship was just not like that. However, not all of it was bad. He was definitely a great man, a great guy. When I was with him or spent time with him, he made me feel like I was the only one in his world. You know, he definitely gave me quality time, which is a love language of mine. He wasn't all distracted on his phone, social media, and all that stuff, but there were some red flags that came up with it. But anyway, over time, we never argued. We never bickered. We was actually able to be in each other's presence for hours and days on at a time and never argue, never get on each other's nerves. And for me, that's huge because I'm the only child. You have to be a special person to be in my space, for me to allow you in my space for hours on at a time, let alone days. So that just showed me that was something new that I had with this person. And so, like I said, we built a very good friendship. It turned into more. We started gaining feelings. We started doing more things together, hanging out more, exploring life together, taking a trip together. But he was definitely holding back in a lot of ways or whatever. And I would express that to him like, yo, what's going on? Are you trying to be with me or not? And he will always say, it's coming. It's coming. And in my mind, I'm like, what the funk does that mean? I said funk, not the other word. What does that mean? It's coming, you know? But then God revealed to me that he had a lot of traumas, unhealed traumas that he was dealing with, to the point that he couldn't give me more because he couldn't even give it to himself. And so that's why it's very important to understand the people that you're dating and go through those 3 levels that I talked about last week, because you'll be able to filter out if a person is really truly ready to be in a relationship, let alone marriage. I'm personally dating with intentions to marry. I'm not out here dating just to be dating. I have an agenda. I have a purpose. I have intentions. And so those 3 levels of dating I talked about last week will help you filter that, so that you're not falling into these relationships and dealing with people that are not going where you're trying to go in life. But anyway, at that time I was doing a fast, and I was like, God, I really need you to answer some prayers. Like, I need to know what's going on with this guy. What is up? Because I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of being disappointed. I'm tired of being sad. And I remember I got out of prayer, and God was like, let him go. Let him go. Let him go. And I'm like, let him go? I love this man. I don't want to let him go. We have a good friendship. I don't want to let him go. But the more I kept telling myself that, the louder the voice of God was saying, let him go. Let him go. Let him go. And he just kept saying it. The thing is, I had so much peace with God telling me to let him go. For those who listened to my last week podcast, I shared that when I asked God if I was supposed to marry my husband, who I had got married to send me a sign if I was supposed to marry him. If I was not supposed to marry him, for him to send me a sign. God sent me 3 signs not to marry this guy, and I ended up doing it anyway. And it was 7 years of hell that I had to pay for not obeying God. And I made a decision like, God, I would not disobey you again, because I don't want to have to go through that hurt and pain and suffering that I've dealt with for 7 years. So you say let him go? Okay. And it hurt, because I'm like, God, I truly and deeply care for this man, and we have a good friendship. And I will always tell him, like, you're a great friend, but you suck at being in a relationship. Now, mind you, the whole time we're talking, we never made a decision or had the conversation. Oh yeah, we're together. And that's why you got to have that verbal as well as the action, because if you don't have those 2, then you're in a relationship with a person that you really are not in a relationship with. But to be honest with you, I really had peace when God told me to let him go. Even though it hurt my heart, I did it because I knew God had better for me. And God told me he has better for me. And I'm like, okay, I believe you. But I did cry for days on end. I did cry because it hurt. And I remember I told a few of my girlfriends, like, you know, we check in with each other. And I was like, hey, you know, they would ask, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good, but I'm really sad because God led me and told me that I had to let this man that I'm getting to know go. And one of the ladies she said something and it just gave me a revelation. Like, don't you just love God, that he loves you enough to let you know when someone isn't good enough for you? To let you know that the situation you're in is not his best for you? And I'm just like, mic drop. Picked my face up real quick and kept it moving. Like, yeah, you're right. I'm glad I have a God I'm glad I have a relationship with a God that loves me enough to tell me, daughter of mine, that is not good enough for you. That is not my best for you. You deserve more. You deserve better. And I'm like, you are right. And so I took that with a grain of salt and I kept it moving. And probably not even 2 hours later, I ended up calling him and I was like, there was already friction there. And we already had took a good amount of time away from each other and out of each other's life. And we were kind of just getting back into talking to each other again. And I hit him with another blow, like, God told me, God told me to let you go. And I know he didn't understand that because he didn't have a walk with God. He didn't have a walk with Christ as I did. Okay? And so his spiritual walk wasn't where my spiritual walk was. And so he didn't understand where I was coming from. And he expressed that he felt like it was just me saying that. And I'm like, no. There's God telling me, like, I just got out of a fast, just got out of prayer, and I'm hearing the voice of God tell me, I have to let you go. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it sucks. No, it's not what I want, but it's what God wants. And I love him more, that I will obey him more and do what he tells me to do. And so with that, I had to chuck it up with a grain of salt and let him know, we both cried over the phone. And I've never had to do that before. I've never had to let someone go when God told me to let them go. So I honestly didn't know how to end the conversation. Like, okay, I said all what I had to say. I listened to your side of it. But I got to get off the phone because I'm on the way to something. Not to sound insensitive, but, I gave him a heads up, like, okay, I'm going to count to 3. I'm going to say I love you, and I'm going to hang up the phone. And that's exactly what I did to end the conversation. And so we haven't talked since then. My church had a 3-day revival or 3-day Jubilee celebration. And the whole time I'm like praying and interceding for this man, as well as for God to heal me, because I'm like, I'm still hurt. Like, I'm not losing somebody I just care about. I'm losing a friend too, but it really taught me how to pray for my husband when he does come. It taught me how to be an intercessor when my husband does come and how to pray for him. Hi, Ivan, how are you? And so even though it didn't end how I wanted it to, it taught me a lot. It also, one of my prayer is that God, anything with you is possible. Nothing is impossible for you. Like, that was my prayer for days, that I was just praying, like, nothing is impossible. God, I know you can do things according to your will. Like, I just know. And the young man that I was talking to, he believed in God. He was raised in church. His grandmother raised him in church. But he did not believe in Jesus. He didn't believe in my God. He didn't believe in Jesus Christ. And that's where my prayer came from. God, you can turn. We have people who were atheists in my church. God, you have turned them around to believe in you. God, I know that you can change his heart. I know you can change things around. Like, that was my prayer for days, y'all. 4 days. And let me tell you how good God is to those who believe. This man, who's never stepped a foot in church in many years, maybe since he was a kid, maybe since his grandmother passed, but this dude showed up to church on Sunday. He came to my church on Sunday. I never gave him the address to my church, so he did the work to sort out the house of God. He came, he stayed the whole service, talked to a few people, and he left. You can't tell me God don't change anybody. God doesn't turn anything around. And so when I let him go and I was praying and I was interceding and I gave it to God and still prayed for this man, God did his will in his life. God spoke to him and he heard God speak. And I was just like, my heart smiled because I'm like, another soul is saved. Hallelujah. I'm at work, so I cannot shout how I want to shout. I cannot be as loud or expressive as I want to be because I'm at work, but hallelujah and glory to God. And I really want you all I want to encourage you all to continue to pray for your family members, for that brother or sister that may be strung out on crack or doing drugs or in an abusive relationship. When you continue to pray and when you continue to intercede on their behalf, baby, God will turn things around, okay? And that's what God did in this situation. And it just gave me revelation on the whole purpose of us meeting and being in each other's life. And that's because God wanted him back in his house. God has called him to be in his house. And so I was obedient to God and letting him go. Even though it hurts, God was able to get the glory and turn that thing around. Y'all just don't understand what I'm saying. I'm too excited, but I'm at work and I can't get hyped. But hey, girl, how's it going?
Hey, lady, how are you?
I'm good. I'm over here giving my testimony.
I missed it. I was like, where's my phone? And then when I looked at the time, I was like, let me go to Rika page.
Right, it's okay. It's okay. I'm over here just giving my testimony on just being obedient to God. And I think I told you, and I shared with Shayla as well, I had to let go of the guy that I was talking to because God told me to let him go. And Shayla said something, and it just gave me revelation. She was like, don't you love that we just serve a God that will protect us enough to tell us to let somebody go, but also to show that that's not his best for us? And I'm just like, mic drop right there. Mic drop. Like, it hurt, God, it hurt. But I'm like, I'm going to be obedient to you because I got married to a guy. God gave me 3 signs not to marry, and I had 7 years of hell dealing with him. And I was like, baby, I'm not going through that again.
Not doing that no more.
My heart can hurt temporary, but I'm going to be obedient to you and let this man go because you will restore me. You will heal my heart. So, but yeah, I was the last part I was sharing is that when I let him go, I didn't talk to him for a couple of weeks. He was raised in a church. His grandmother raised him in a church. He believed in God, but as he got older and started doing history, he didn't believe Jesus. And I was like, wow. And my prayer, my intercessory prayer, and I wonder why I kept saying, God, I trust you. God, I believe you. God, I know that all things are possible with you. Nothing's impossible with you. Like, that was my prayer for like days. And I didn't understand why. And then he showed up on church on Sunday. It's been years since this man been in church. He heard the voice of God, and God spoke to him like, I need you to get your life right now, because if you don't, it's going to get worse. And his grandmother passed as well, but he shared his testimony of feeling his grandmother presence as well. And I was like, okay, so that was a huge purpose of us meeting, is for him to give his life back to Christ, for him to start going to church again, for him to start, getting his life right with God. And I'm just like, thank you. I'm thankful that I was obedient to say, I got to let you go. It hurt, but I got to let you go. But a soul is saved because I was obedient.
Wow.
Now, how many more souls is that going to save?
Right. From that one person.
So I was like, thank you. Thank you. And he's healing my heart, and I know over time we'll be able to get back to a friendship. But as of right now, it's still hard. It's still hurtful because I care so much about him. But I'm like, yeah, just give it some time. And I'm just praying, God, leave my steps in it because I don't want to go too soon. But friendship is very important to me. And I can honestly sit here and say, I don't have a lot of friends. So when I meet good people and we build a connection, baby, you stuck with me. Okay.
I'm the same way. That makes so much sense.
Because I don't
very few that is.
people in my circle or close to me at all. So that says something about you, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, I thank you for hopping on.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what's going on with you? Let's check in with you. What's going on?
Girl, I look, me enduring these kids on this snow day for
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah, well, in Dallas, they say snow day, but it's really an ice day
okay.
because it's not snow, it's
Yeah.
ice. But yeah, so other than that, like I've been spending time with them since they've been out of school, but
Okay.
I don't even know where to start,
Yeah.
child. You know, I was telling you I was doing the online dating, doing the Facebook app
Yeah.
thing, and that I, I think I pressed X so many times that that's not even sense of me even being on there.
I know.
I just keep
Yeah.
pressing X so much. I saw this one guy's profile and he said, "Look, I am toxic and I'm looking for someone to be toxic with me." And I was like, "Well, why did you like my photo? What about my photo made you like it? If that's your goal." So then that made me question a lot. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should not. Maybe I should look for a different online
That's right.
dating venue. Yeah,
Yeah.
website or something possibly. But
I am realizing Facebook dating does not work for everybody.
yeah.
Like I check in with my first lady because she knows I'm dating. She was like, "How's dating going for you?" I'm like, "It's been going pretty good. I got some hits." And she was like, "Well, our friend over here, she ain't get no hits. So what? Like, you got the juice or something?" I said, "I guess so. I don't know, but I also know it takes you getting out of your comfort zone.
It
It takes
does.
you to be open and willing to the new
Mm-hmm.
way of
Mm-hmm.
getting to know somebody. But I think it pans out even more once a person really knows what they want, what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You can filter do that real quick, like, yep, left, 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 left.
Yes. Yes.
I did
Or
a lot of
X
left,
X
but
X X.
and then and that's the whole point of me starting this podcast, because I'm like, is anybody else going through this? Like, why don't these dudes know how to hold a conversation, start a conversation,
Believe
you know? So
that.
gradually over time, I was like, I gotta put this out. I know I'm not the only person dealing with this,
Mm-hmm.
but also the purpose of the podcast was to learn myself, gain new perspectives on dating, um, allow other people to heal through my experience as well as me heal through things. So yeah, what up, Kenneth? Read people bio for real, for real. Yeah, that part too. But they
Oh
be
yeah.
lying in the bio.
Huh?
They they lie in the bio.
They do.
They lie in
They
the bio.
do. But that guy was apparently honest, but they do be lying on the bio.
Right.
This
Yeah.
I
So
had one guy, I actually gave him my number. We would text it on the thing. I gave him my number before you gave me the deeds with the app. So
yeah,
I
girl.
gave him my number, but he never called. That's the thing. He never called. It was like a week went by. He didn't call. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. And I forgot. The other day he called me at 5 o'clock in the morning and was like, hey, how you doing?
Bruh.
I'm
You know I'm
sleep.
still asleep, right? I still got apple in my eyes. You could at least text, "Are you up?"
Right.
Yeah.
My wake up is at 6 a.m., not 5 a.m. So now I had a whole another hour. You just messed it up. Out the blue. It was like, remember I met you on no, you girl.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. Dating is on the app, on the Facebook app was not fun, but every person taught me something how to continue to deal with Facebook dating. And I'm just like, I mean, I hopped on and hopped off quite a few times because I'm like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with these dudes
Yeah.
out here? Like, the thing the thing that cracks me up is there will be guys with money on their profile. And I'm like, but you don't want to go digger. But you don't want somebody after your money. Then why are you displaying money as your profile picture? So
Right.
apparently
Yeah.
you're trying
Yeah.
to you're trying to catch somebody on that. But I'm like, that don't attract me. I make my own money. I got my own.
Exactly.
I don't need your money.
Exactly.
I'm not staying with you because of that. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I started praying also before I got on Facebook dating. Um, and I was like, God, just lead me to the one that you want me to meet, even if it's just in regards to business, friendship, relationship, marriage. But once I let in that, the filter got much better with the guys. And even now, as I date, I'm still like, God, guide me in whatever this relationship is supposed to be, because sometimes
us being single and being single so long, we feel like, okay, when we meet somebody, we automatically think that, we're supposed to be in a relationship with them. And God is like, actually, that's supposed to be a friendship, or that's supposed to be
Right.
a relationship that's going to open up doors because
Mm-hmm.
you're networking or because you're in a certain field.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one way that I have gone about it. I am going about it,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely seeing a different result with that. So I would
Mm-hmm.
encourage you to maybe say those prayers before, because I know you have a prayer you say before you go on a date or when you meet somebody.
Yes, yes. So
Jumping like flies.
I do it. Then all of a sudden I'll never hear from them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you said though, because I as far as meeting people and knowing what the reason that they're in your life, I was sitting back thinking about that, about my exes or either guys I used to date, and what is it I got from that moment or that experience and that time with them, with their relationship. And I was like, oh, and for each person or encounter, I can recall something that I took with me to help build me as a person or my personality, or you know what I mean? And so for that, I'm appreciative, and then now it does affect the way I look at people going forward. I'm like, okay, not necessarily what is it in it for me, but how can we help each other grow?
Yes.
You know what I mean? That like if something I can offer or bring to the table that can help you, maybe some area, and I don't like saying weaknesses, but maybe strengths and opportunities, maybe that's an opportunity area for you that I'm stronger in, or vice versa. And so I look for those opportunities when I meet people.
Good.
And it's hard. I feel like it's hard to do that online dating.
It
you know
is.
what I mean? But then again, I don't go anywhere else to meet people because I don't go nowhere.
Exactly. It's as they say, when you're dating, your representative is representing you.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you're not going to get the real. You may not get the real. And like I said, when you have a spiritual relationship and when you know yourself, you can definitely filter out the BS up front. You can call it. You'll have that discernment. But yeah, hey girl.
Hello.
What's going on, Queen? How you doing?
Nothing
Hi,
much.
Queen.
Oh, hi, Queen. How are you?
Good. Good
My
to
name
see
is
you.
Juanita. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Taquita, nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Two beautiful queens. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I was so happy I got the notification. Usually around this time is my busiest time at work. I got the notification. I'm like, oh, let me
Let you have
join
fun.
in. I'm not busy.
My girl ain't been on in a while. Where she at? Yeah. So I was just giving my testimony in dating or whatever with the last guy I was talking to, how that panned out. And then Quita, her journey. Oh my God, we're dating. We don't know what's going on, but we just know they just been dropping like flies. Like she has a certain prayer that she did or that she does before she meet guys or go on dates, and she just realized it wasn't panning out. And I'm just encouraging her, trying to keep her encouraged and to know that they're not what God has for you. They're not their best, even though it hurts because it feels like they're rejecting us. But no, it's just God protecting us.
There you go. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And be happy that they did it early on than later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is true.
And don't forget to thank God. Like, thank you for showing me. Because you prayed for this. Say, show me. He's showing you. So continue to praise him and thank him and continue to show you and create that flame. That you want. Yeah.
I prayed this year. I said, Lord, am I going to go on a date this year?
A successful date?
Am I going to go on a successful date this year? That was one of my prayers when the year started. I was like, Lord, what do you have for me this year as far as dating?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, even though I do want to date and I do want to progress in the area, not my will. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So then at the end of prayer, it's like, not my will, but your will, Lord.
Exactly.
So I won't.
I think that
throw my wants out the door any day.
I think that's where a lot of people go wrong in their prayer life. They pray their will versus God's will.
Exactly. Yep. All you got to do while you're waiting for that person to patiently come, you just make sure you have yourself together. And that's what I tell myself. Just make sure I'm working on my healing. I'm the best version of myself. And you know what? Things happen when you least expect it. You know what I mean? And to receive.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
That's another good topic right there. That should be a podcast. What are you doing while you're waiting?
Exactly.
Yes,
Are you
while you're waiting.
Are you murmuring? Are you complaining? Are you taking the time to get yourself right? Are you working on your traumas? You know, are you seeking therapy? Like, are you in prayer? Are you fasting? What are you doing while you wait?
Well,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm doing all of the above.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just keeping my focus, you know, on the overall goal, because I believe the vision that God has gave me for my life and for my children and so forth, like that's a part of being equally yoked, and that's a whole nother can of worms to to unhash.
Yeah.
But God, whatever man God has for me, he's not going to match me with someone that's going in the opposite direction, because I'm supposed to be a help me. I can't help a man go somewhere that God ain't already showed me that I'm going to go. So it's going to be going down the same, you know what I mean? So in the meantime, I'm going to keep perfecting this side so I'll be better equipped to help.
There you go.
You are speaking fast, and I think that's why I shy away from a lot of guys, because I have my relationship with Christ is different. My God will walk is different, and I'm like, as a man, you're supposed to lead. I shouldn't have to tell you how to pray. I shouldn't have to lead you to read your Bible. Like, you should already have that relationship with God established, because now you're taking away from the things that I got to do. Now you're holding me back at the end of the day. So my prayer is for him to be a man of God with integrity, that's seeking out God's own heart, just as I am. But I notice you have, and I'm not saying you don't meet people where they are, but if they're not showing that thirst and hunger for Christ, then I'm like, I got to chuck the deuces, because you're holding me back. And I know the man that God has for me, I'm not going to have to do all that. He's already going to be prepared and ready to go.
Exactly. And of course, that person is not the right fit for you, you know? So what don't work for you may work for somebody else, and that's okay.
That part. And I notice I have gotten to know a lot of guys that God gave me a revelation that I am preparing them for their wives. And I was like today he gave me that revelation. And I was like, because I asked for God to lead me in relationships, and I was like, because I don't want to get caught up in trying to be in a relationship with somebody that I was supposed to prepare for his wife. And I was like,
okay. All right. Well, you
okay,
got
that it may be more of an assignment for you.
that part.
Yep.
I'm recognizing a lot of guys that I encounter with is that what you just said right there. Like, okay, let me step back. Away, because you're not my husband.
Exactly.
I am actually preparing you for the wife that God has for you.
Exactly.
And I'm like, dang, he's a good dude.
He's a good dude.
Exactly. But if you come back full circle, you never know. But in God's timing, his plan, you just got to be obedient and follow the assignment, just like she said. So
that's true. And that's what I was talking about before you got on here. I was talking about the guy that I was talking to for 6 months or whatever. And God told me after I was in prayer, God told me to let him go. And I was like, but we're really good friends. Like, I care about him, like deeply care about him. I don't want to let him go, but I was obedient and I let him go, and I had peace instantly. I had peace about it. That's how I knew it was God. I was sharing that he was raised in the church with his grandmother. I don't know when's the last time he's been in church. It's been years, but because I let that thing go and let God do what he had to do, he came to church on Sunday.
Oh, see, look at that.
And I never told him the name of my church, the address of, I probably told him the name, but I never told him like the address. So he sought out to find a house of God to go into. And I was like, thank you, God. Another soul is saved because I was obedient.
See?
Now, if I would have been stingy and did things out of my own intentions, his soul wouldn't have been saved.
There you go. Exactly.
No,
Good job for being obedient. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wow, but it hurt. It hurt.
Exactly.
But I was like, God, you are a healer. You're going to heal my heart, which he did.
Yep.
But yes.
Exactly.
I had an instance, it was a couple of years ago, probably like 3 years ago, where that same prayer that I told you about that I pray all the time, right? So I was dating this guy, and I loved him. Like, I loved him. Like, that type of, like that type of, I was so crazy, like whatever it was, you know. But no, I really did, because we had like history from when I thought I graduated high school, you know, adult age, we're back and forth. I'm thinking like, okay, we hooked back up in our adult life. I'm like, okay, this is meant to be, you know. We were like seriously dating. So I was praying, though. I was at work. I remember working from home. I was on my desk, and I'm listening to this prayer on the side. So I'm like, I began to pray along with the prayer. And immediately I felt like something pulled out of me, like out of my heart. I thought of, like, I visioned him. I saw him. And then I felt like it pulled out of my heart. And then it's like like it took my breath away. I was like, and then I just began to cry. So hard. And I was like, oh my God, Lord, what was that? You know? And then he called. Right after that, he called. And I said, what's going on? What's happening? Is something's going on, right? Like, I know. I was like, what's going on with you? What's going on? He was like, nothing. I just wanted to check on you, see how you doing. I said, yeah, but what else, right? Exactly. It's something. And he's like, well, I do want to talk to you, but I'll wait later. I know you at work. We'll talk later. Yeah. And I'm like, and I hung up the phone. I was like, Lord, what in the world? Fast forward, I met up with him, started talking, sat in the car and talked. He was married. He had never told me that he was married. His wife had came from out of town, wanted to rekindle, get back together. Yes, he had a whole situation going that I never knew nothing about. He never told me about. Of course, he told me it was his ex, but I didn't know they was actually still married. So she was out of town or whatever, lived in another state, came back, wanted to rekindle, got their kids. They were doing, you know, family functions at this time that I knew nothing about. But all this during this time, I kept praying for clarity. Like, Lord, I really love this man. Like, I really feel like we can have a future together. So I began to pray that prayer, and I just felt like God just kind of pulled it out of my heart. You know what I mean? That hurt, that pain. And so, and so after that, he told me, I wasn't surprised. I didn't go months of weeping and hurting like, oh my God, he's broke my heart. I'm grateful because I didn't have to go through that part. Right. Because God at that moment pulled it out, you know? And that's why I believe prayer is so important, especially with our hearts, you know? I grew up where we trust people and trust, you know, men, and, oh, you have my heart, or, oh, I protect my heart. But truly, it's all in God's hands, you know?
It is. Hey, Sylvia. Good seeing you, Sylvia.
Hey, Sylvia.
Miss your girl. I miss her Proverbs group.
Oh my gosh.
To get it in that group. Yeah, I miss it so much. But yeah. So I know the other part of the podcast, we're going to talk about mental health and dealing with depression. A lot of us, including myself, have dealt with depression, but still had a smile on my face, still showed up like nothing was wrong. Baby, I'm dark and sad on the inside. And so we're going to definitely talk about that. My sister, you know, reached out and just let me know that, you know, she was dealing with some things and struggling with some things. So I definitely want to bring up the awareness of mental health and depression. Next month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we can kick it off early. That's fine, especially with so many things going on. You know, the recent release of the video of Tyree Nichols. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. It's just like we have not been able to get a break.
Exactly.
Like, we got to keep going and deal with this, and we still got to show up to work and show up to church and show up for our children. Like, it's exhausting. So I definitely want to hit on mental health today. And sis, I want you to know that this is a safe space. There's no judgment here. You're willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to be vulnerable. Sis, I don't know if you're willing to be vulnerable, but let's shine some light on this thing, okay?
Absolutely. So, I will say, I know it's crazy because it's like, you know what, I've experienced moments of depression before in the past, and then came over it, and then it actually made me do a study. So I began to do a study on not because I believe everyone used in the past when I was growing up, everyone used to say, "Oh, just pray about it. Oh, ain't no such thing as depression." I didn't believe depression was real until I had my third son, my third child, and when I couldn't control my own thoughts and feelings. When I was like, I want to be happy, I want to be able to be there and show up genuinely, but I just don't feel like even getting out of bed. I'm crying at night and shaking with anxiety because I don't want the next day to come. I stay up hoping that I don't have to go to sleep because I don't have to face another day. You know, like, and all of that, being in a point where I experienced that in the past. So now, fast forward, I'm 39 years old. I have today my son's birthday is 12. I have a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old. I'm thriving. My mother and parents, I'm taking care of them. And all of a sudden, at the beginning of the new year, I'm depressed. I look around and I'm not getting out of bed. My room looks like my bedroom, not my house, but where I was confiding in the room. It is dark. The ceiling fan, the dust on it, you can see it. Like, that's usually always clean, but no, like, and then clothes, it's like I begin to suffocate. And I think it was like a spiral. I'm always so, my ex used to say, you always got your head in the clouds, which I took as a compliment because I always got my head forward on where I'm going, ahead, right? But at this point, I think I stopped and I looked at my reality. And I wasn't where I started to begin to set my goals for the new year, right? For 2023. And I realized I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I didn't see how, that word how, I was going to accomplish it or get there, right? And I point out the word how because when I start focusing on how I'm going to do something, that's when I began to get anxiety because I can't figure it out, right? That's me wanting to be in control, wanting me to be able to, as a single mother, and I just want to be like, this goes here. I'm planning. I'm always that person, got everything A, B, and C. If I'm doing an event, I got to contact everybody, delegated, everybody got a position. But then if everything's spiraling, I don't know, how am I going to like make enough money for this? My rent is going up. My kids got this. My kids need mental. They need all these things going on. And my parents, my mother is sick. She had surgery. My father, and I'm like, I don't have enough money to go. And my business is not. And I just began to all that just hit you. And I just stopped. And that's when I shut down. I was like, oh, but that's, and it began. And then I'm hearing all I can't. So I hear the negatives, You can't do this, you can't do that. What about this? What you gonna do about that? Because I took my eyes out. What's the man in the Bible when he was walking on the water and he took his eyes off?
Peter.
And then all of a sudden,
Peter.
the Peter. I get them mixed up. Peter, Luke. So Peter. I'm
I
sorry,
think
y'all.
it's Peter.
Yeah. So he took and that's what I felt like my life. I took my eyes off of, and it was hope. I stopped having the hope. I was having the expectations of getting things done, but I lost the hope on how it was going to get done.
You lost
wanting it to be in my hand.
You lost the faith. You was living in fear.
Yeah.
That's what
Yep.
that.
Yep. You put your focus off God and you put your focus on yourself.
And I got afraid. The epitome of anxiety. I felt myself having an anxiety attack that I hadn't had in forever. I was like, oh my God. It's getting tight around my throat. I can't breathe. I'm crying. I'm shaking. This whole anxiety, and anxiety is you being afraid to allow yourself to feel, right?
Right.
So I was afraid to allow myself to feel and face the moment instead of me dealing with the moment and giving it to God, who knows how. I thought I can handle it on my own, and it became overwhelming, right? And then I didn't want to feel the pain. I didn't want to face it. And so it wasn't until I allowed myself to acknowledge the feelings that I'm not I'm not enough. I can't do this alone. That I shouldn't do this alone, And it wasn't until I got to that point. So I have actually been documenting this journey, the journey of my depression, and wait till I reveal these pictures, y'all. So I began to when I was coming on the outside of course I can verbalize it now because I'm on the outside of, but going through it, there was no words could be had without tears, you know? So I began to doc when I started cleaning out my closet, right? And cleaning up the mess that I was sitting in. It was stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
At one point my dad came and he said, "Oh no, you can't go out like this. Get up out this room." He pulled me out, put me outside, let some sunshine on you. Let the Lord blow his wind on you. And while I was there, he cleaned my ceiling fan. So I was grateful, and we need people like that around us, that's gonna be like, hey, you're not the same. That your energy is off. You ain't came out that room. What's going on? That notice you, not yourself, right? And so, but I started cleaning out my closet and cleaning up my room and stuff. It took me 3 days to clean this closet, clean this room. And I noticed a whole bunch of bags. I had bags for everything. I took a picture. I'm gonna post it when I do my story again. But girl, it was so many bags. I had the laundry bag. Huh?
The baggage we carry.
There you go.
Oh my God. That's what it was. God said, now look at this.
That's a message. I was just
these
thinking
bags of fear. I was holding on. There was one laundry bag that I had when I was 12 years old. Y'all.
See?
And I kept this bag because my mom, we didn't have a washing machine in our house. So my sister and I used to have to carry the clothes in like grocery bags. So finally my mom bought a laundry bag for us to walk down the street holding a laundry bag on our shoulder to go wash the clothes. And I kept the bag all these years because I felt like if my washing machine ever go out, at least I'm gonna have a lunch bag.
Exactly.
But that's the mindset. Instead of the mindset of
that poverty mindset. Right. Well, at least you didn't have to do what we did as a kid. We took our big old king size sheet, put all the clothes in there, tied it on in, looked at the lunch.
And I was like, this is such a poverty mindset.
Carry. Oh my goodness, that might have to be the next podcast. The baggage we carry.
The baggage we carry. And God said, why not look at it as throw this bag away because I'm never going back to that place again. I'm never going to ever experience this. My children will never ever experience this type of lack of poverty ever again. That's the decision. That's what I should have been thinking, but instead I was holding on to that fear and that poverty mindset. So it goes deeper, but Lord, I'm grateful though because of people like Rika, people like my dad, people like other people that reached out to me, and I began to give other women what I needed. So I began to call up other women, like, "Can I pray with you? Can I call in? Are you okay today?" And check on them because that's what I need. I feel like if I needed it, I know.
Exactly.
And that's why I felt
something that I do. When I need words of encouragement, that's why I do a lot of my Instagram, because it's like I'm talking to myself. Yes, it's helping other people, but I'm talking to myself. When I need someone to reach out to me, when I need words of encouragement, that's when I say, "Hey, just texting to check in with you." I do it with you. I do it with Sylvia. I do it with Shayla. Like, hey, just checking on you. I do it with my cousin because it's like I need this.
Exactly.
I need someone to check on me, and sometimes it hurts because I am the only child, and yes, I have brothers and sisters on my dad's side, but they don't check in on me, and I'm just like, damn, I don't got anybody to check in on me. That hurts a little bit. So I was like, well, let me give out what I want to receive, and that's checking in. How you doing? How things going? You've been on my mind. I prayed for you. Whatever the case may be. So that's good that you recognize, you reach out, you need that help. And a lot of people don't truly get, like, you got to check on your strong friends. They may seem strong, but they crying when they are crying. Okay.
Yeah.
And you gotta, and I think that goes both ways. I'm like you, Rika, too. I'm always that person that's always checking up on people and things like that too. But then I had to realize and I have to remind myself that everybody's not like me.
Yep.
And we also have to communicate that to them, because everybody's like us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like, we know how it feels to not be checked in on. Maybe they're going through their own things and they just don't know how to come out of it like we can. Everybody handle and respond to things differently. So it's like, girl, you got, sometimes we just got to let them know, we got to teach people the way we want to be treated. You know what I mean? Show and sometimes tell them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable
Yeah.
in this space, because being vulnerable hurts. It's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but I noticed there's so much growth
It
in being
is.
vulnerable. You said something about control, and that caused me to think of a conversation I was just having last night. And we were talking about control. He was like, "You're a control freak, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yep. I like to have control over things and situations, because when I did give the ball to someone else to do it, they dropped the ball.
Right.
That's why I'd be like, I don't want to do it, because I'm like, yeah. But I realize when I give him the ball and allow him to do what he wants to do, I've never been disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Right.
been very happy. And I was just like, see, this is why you need to get out of your comfort zone. See, this is why you don't need to always be in control all the time.
But
Because
it's all
I was like,
when you've been disappointed.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
the part.
yeah.
That part. And so I was like, well, now that I have evidence that I can trust you and give you the ball, and you will deliver way better than I have, okay, I have no problem with giving you the ball again.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, it takes those baby steps to get out of
Yeah.
that control, especially when you've done it on your own and by yourself for so long. It
Mm-hmm.
is challenging to give it up, because it's like that's your comfort before your four walls. You know, so yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Is there a time that you got dark and was kind of spiraling down and kind of see yourself going into depression or having anxiety?
Me? Yes. I believe it or not, I believe I've suffered from depression for many years, even as a kid, going, looking back at how I used to be so withdrawn, and things like that. And I think it took to me, in our family, they didn't really believe in therapy and things like that, and so, but I was fortunate that even though I didn't go to therapy, I had my aunt and my grandmother I can tell anything to and confide in, even as a little girl. So that was a blessing for me to have that person that I can talk to. But I think it took to me being an adult when I had my first baby and she passed away, and no one in my family could relate to what I was going through. So then I turned to therapy. At that time, I think I was like 21. That was the best feeling in the world, because it's like, yes, I knew that I can share with my aunt and my grandmother, and they can hold my secrets. But it was something about giving it all to the therapist. I don't know if it's because she didn't know me, she couldn't make no judgment. It's just I just gave it all to her, and it was just like weights lifted off my shoulder. It was so beneficial in ways I never even thought that it would be. And we just covered so many issues, and just in her trained profession, she was able to make me go back and connect to other trauma things that I had. It just, I don't know, it healed me in so much. So I think, even now, I notice that when I really analyze myself, like I get sad in the wintertime, and it's called sad.
Yeah.
So depression. And I didn't recognize that till a few years ago, because it's like, it's something about not being able to have the sunlight and stuff like that. And I just know I'm good all year round. It's something about the winter. Even though I dislike winter, I'm like, I know that's just not it. And so, but just being in therapy, it may help me recognize, and the therapist was able to tell me that's what it was. And as I read up on it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And so, so I'm a big person who believes in I push for therapy.
Yes.
I definitely do. So, yes, God is our healer. We can tell him anything, but with that and therapy and prayer, that's all the tools. You got to utilize all your tools. God is everything, but he's not the only thing. You got to utilize, there's tools given in prayer, there's tools given by the therapist, and you just have to put them in play. And each, it's not going to be a miracle thing that happened all at once. You have to apply what you're learning.
Yes.
And it will make a difference. And and I don't know. But yeah, so I have dark times, and I recognize it. And when I do, I'm a person that I'm always the problem solver for everybody else. And I've been that all my life. So when someone has an issue, I go into problem solve mode. What can I do? And then I realize that I'm carrying other people's baggage.
Yep.
That a lot of problems that I have are not even mine. It's me trying to help them out and figure them out and, solve their issues on top of, what we got going on with our own family and stuff like that. Once I had a stroke last year. So
Okay.
January 19th made 1 year. So this past January 19th made 1 year that I had a stroke.
Praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God.
And I was working from home as I am now, and my whole left side just went numb. And even though I'm a person who believes in living life to the fullest and no regrets and all that stuff, it took to be able to walk, to be able to come out the way I turned out going through my stroke. I was home for 9 months. I had to learn how to talk, walk, all that stuff. So to be at the point that I am now, I have so much armor around me with prayer and God. Don't nothing penetrate me. I don't take on nobody else's baggage. Even the stress of my children they be looking like me like, wow, mom, no reaction. I'm like, I tell you once, that's it. We ain't going back and forth. I'm not repeating because ain't nothing worth my life. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for the second chance I got, and I'm gonna make the best of it. So even when I found myself feeling sad about going through the stroke and about being through the things that I've been through, I always look to the positive. Anytime I have a negative situation, I turn it into a positive. Yes, I didn't like that I had to fork out that money for car repairs or home repair, but I'm grateful to God that I had the money to cover it. There's always a pro.
Yeah.
When, it outweigh that con. And that's how I go. I always come with a pro. And it's like, and if I don't dwell on things that I have no control over, if it's out of my control, it's out of my control. I used to be that person that spent hours, okay, what can I do? It's out of my control. I pray on it and I move forward. I'm not saying that it doesn't try to get back in my brain, but I defeat it. I'm like, nope, I can't do nothing about that. And from that, is like, I'm telling you, when I say I have armor all around me, and it's like, I'm untouchable, honestly, penetrates. And I like where I am, the point that I am right now, that I even let go my 12-year relationship.
Yeah.
My partner was great. She was a woman. She was good to me. We loved each other deeply, but sometimes love is not enough. I was not getting everything that I needed, but I was sacrificing because that's all she had to give. But I learned in going through what I went through, I deserve more and not to settle. And so I let go. And it's been 1 year too. So during the time where I was trying to recover from the worst thing I ever been through, a stroke, I was also suffering through a heartbreak, but God brought me through it,
Yes, he will. Girl, you can preach in here.
That's right.
Well, look,
So
won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Yes, he will. There's something he said, and I recognize it. I recognize it. I have recognized it from being in therapy. I recognize it in strong people as well as problem solvers. I am a problem solver too. And I recognize problem solvers, we don't have boundaries. And because we don't have boundaries, we take on everybody else's problem like they're ours, and we get drained and we get tired to the point that we can't even do our own stuff. Baby, I learned real quick. I can't do it. I'm going to give this back to you.
Exactly.
I will pray for you. But this is not my problem. And so when you do therapy and you learn that you don't have boundaries, baby, real quick, you're going to get you some boundaries and you're going to start saying no. You're going to be happy to say no, quick to say no. I can't do it.
And people start falling.
I can't do it.
Exactly.
People start falling out.
You might add a heck no in there, like heck no. It won't even feel bad about it.
Right.
Yes. The power, write that down, Rika, the power of saying no.
The power of no.
That in itself is a whole nother story, So it's like you say you, and it's okay to say the no to others,
It is. Oh my goodness. It is. Like there's so many, I'm tired of my family calling me, and block them. Block them for a couple of days. Let them know you're not playing, that you can't do it. Your no is no. And I'm learning this with my son. He turned 13, and I swear, as soon as 12:01 hit, when he turned 13, it's like he's challenging me. What did I say? Like today, I was like, it's Wednesday. I need you to take the garbage cans out before you head to the school bus. You want me to take them out this morning? What did I just say?
What did I just say?
On your way to the bus stop. Like,
I
feel like he's arguing with me. I was like, we need to get you in the law school because baby, this is not a debate. I'm not about to stress myself out.
Should have law school.
I'm gonna put the boy in law school. I got to, because I'm gonna put him in a debate team or something.
Exactly.
Debate team really helped me too, because I was like that as a child.
Debate team helped me. Y'all know any resources about a debate team in Minnesota?
Exactly.
Please DM me, because I need to know. My son needs to be on the debate team, okay? 'Cause I'm not the one.
Exactly.
But
That is so funny.
I definitely noticed that. Speaking about my son, and I just want to put this disclaimer out there. He had a basketball game at a school in South St. Paul. The name of the school was Lincoln Elementary Center. It's in South St. Paul. What I did not like, with all the things that has been going on with this school, shootings, mass murders. I walk in the school, open door. Nobody asked me for my ID. Nobody asked me who I'm here for. I'm like, the fact that I can walk in, I mean, I was dressed professional, but that's not the point. The fact that anybody can walk through these doors, God forbid, and something happens to these children. I'm just hoping anybody that's listening to this message that has kids in schools, make sure the doors are locked and you do not have easy access. We got too much crazy stuff going on in this world, and the enemy is after our children. Like,
that's true.
Come on, get some kind of security. The debt of
true. I appreciate when they tell me no. When they say no, you can't get them. We need to have this. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate them telling me.
Yeah, they just put that in place in my son's school this last school year. Like, they have to, all the doors are locked. You have to be buzzed in. You got to give your student name, your student ID, your name. They'll verify it when they buzz you in. But I was like, people got to take better precautions in these schools, because come on now.
The times when, like you said, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know if schools have been sued because they don't have these things in place. But things are going to get worse. And God forbid, I don't want anyone that I know to lose their child because their school can put locks on the doors.
Yep, especially when it could have been prevented. Yeah,
that part.
Yeah,
Joe Clark, get them chains on them doors, okay? Joe Clark, for real.
Exactly.
Joe Clark. They better free Mr. Clark.
Hey, but I just wanted to just put that disclaimer since I was talking about my son.
But no, that's true. That's good. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that.
I just want to make sure we went through the PowerPoints. Oh, there is another prayer that I will recommend anybody to say when they're dating or meet someone new. Pray and ask God to show you their hearts.
Yes.
Because when God shows you their heart, you can immediately make a decision how they're going to be in your life, if they will continue to be in your life, or you need to check the deuces and be like, yep, I can't do it. So that is definitely the ultimate prayer.
Exactly. That, yeah.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate y'all ladies getting on. I'm going to end it with Black History.
Yes.
Y'all know I love fashion, and I'm into fashion. I'm taught myself how to sew. So the person I'm going to tell y'all about is Dapper Dan.
Oh, yeah.
A self-taught tailor with a unique style. That's part of my business name. Dapper Dan introduced high fashion to a hip-hop world with his influential Harlem store, Dapper Dan's Boutique, which saw clients over the years, including Salt and Pepper, LL Cool J, and Jay-Z. In 2017, he launched a fashion line with Gucci, which he opened his second store in altering Dapper Dan of Harlem in 2018. So every week when I get on here, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of history. I love fashion, so it'll most likely be in fashion. But y'all enjoy y'all Black History Month. I appreciate y'all coming on and being transparent and vulnerable. I love you all. And I just hope you all have a blessed day.
Thank you
for the platform, and nice meeting you.
You also
gave some great gems. So look forward to next time, ladies. Have a great week.
You too.
Yes, you
thank
too.
You.
Thank you.
Rarika, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, good people.
Thank
you for joining the live. I hope y'all like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. Mental health resources is in the description below as well. To learn about more Black history people, the description is in, the link is in the description, I'm sorry. Make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is also in the description. I need 50 followers in order to go live. I think I only have 26 followers. So I need 24 of y'all, all of y'all out there, to go to my channel, like and subscribe so that I can go live on YouTube as well. All the links are below. Thank y'all for joining on my podcast today. Y'all have a good one. And remember, be bold, be blessed, be beautiful.